You're a fucking troll. How do we get rid of thought loops of your first love, girlfriend? We had dated for 4 years, then she left me for another guy.
Erasing this.
Don't worry about it, bro. Just fucking focus. Like, we don't need you to look at that because they're gonna start trolling you and sending weird shit. Like, one guy said, Zerga's really rocking the Lorax mustache. I had to Google while you're talking what a Lorax is, and he's fucking me up right now, bro. Like, don't focus on the trolls because then we can never answer. But okay. How do I get rid of thought loops? So basically, he was in love with a girl, so that she completed love means she completed every feminine experience in your mind of the anima. She is your angelic being, which the object should be separated from her, right? Shouldn't be, right? The other girls can fit that niche. For example, I give this example, like, it's so hard to miss the love of your life in front of a girl who's hotter than her. You still miss her, but you put it in the back burner as you're talking to the new one. But anyway, so I'm talking about abundance, right? But how do you get rid of thought loops of your first love? We dated for 4 years, then she pretty much did I think there's nothing worse that could happen besides finding out the kid's not yours, but she left me for another guy. So I'm going to say Wi-Fi in chat who asked this question is absolutely fucking shattered, because I know guys who, they dump a bitch and they still feel like jealous, even years later, right? Over whatever she's got going on. But this guy says she literally said, I'm done with you. The next day, she's with a different dude, and this haunts him, thought loops everywhere he sees her. And he's in the highest level of fucking despair, because when I read that question, before we giggle and laugh, we all get that, the tremors. Like, chat, one in the chat, if when I read that question, men have this ability to empathize, not because they're good people, because you feel it happening to you. Even if it didn't happen to you, you feel it. And because it's just like, there's no worse psychic pain than her leaving you for the next guy. But I'm going to answer quickly. There's nothing more beautiful than if the guy is a successful badass, because then you have this rocket launching pad and you become him. Even if you don't want to, you do. I still remember being cooked. That guy had a mustache, tattoos, badass, said what he wanted, had money, didn't have a job, drug dealer. And then I literally became that fucking guy who fucking cucked me, right? So there's this thing that happens, like, if you get cucked by someone who's a fucking monster, like winner at everything, as much as it hurts, it is a reminder that you stole her box because you told her you're that badass, but you weren't that badass. You lied so you could keep touching her. You're a fucking loser bitch for that. You didn't get your life together like everyone else. Not everyone else. Don't just the top 10% of society that want to make it, that want to avoid this, but you lied to her. You used her for 4 years. Bam, bam, and she had anxiety. She's like, oh my God, he's not going to take care of me. He's just a regular guy and stuff. And then the worst happened. She suffered for years with you, only thinking about, did I get the right guy? Are my kids gonna be safe? That's all she's thinking about. And you lied to her because the guy who doesn't lie to her, it doesn't really happen to him. And I know this is like Zerga. This doesn't sound like you. You always blame the woman, and yeah. Unless I'm giving advice. If I'm giving advice, it's everything is your fault. Everything. If a bitch leaves you, 99.9% your fault. Do you know how I know? Because you only fantasize of repeating that relationship the right way, where you're killing it in life. You never fantasize repeating that relationship in your dusty fucking bitch ass apartment and everything that you didn't have. When you reimagine it, you go, man, I should have been doing this. I should have been doing that. I should have been jacked. I should have been says you stole her purity in front of God, lying to her, manipulating her that you deserve it, and she had enough. And you know what's funny? As much as you want to say, no, bitch is a hoe, bitch is a hoe, if she was your daughter, you would have never let her date you. And you know that. If she was your daughter, you would have been like, that guy's a fucking dweeb. And I know this from personal experience, where I always had this like resentment, where it's like, yeah, I screamed at the bitch because we're talking about you. We have to pay this bill and blah, 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 and that. But in my head, I'm thinking like, how come I don't have those problems today? Because I got money, bitch. I got everything I need. That's why they're stuck with me, right? But if I didn't do the hard work, and I'm just gonna, oh, yeah, I'm playing, oh, yeah, keep bouncing on me. Really? You think that's how life's gonna go? Where you go do a fucking minimum wage shit job and you get to just play and God is watching you play for fun and God's like, I gave you all this psychic potential and you're just an average Joe? What? And you know, it's never been easier to be a superstar. There's a fucking internet, right? But when you put all the weight of the world's shoulders on yourself, you actually go to the next level, become the next dude. But I'll tell you this, we don't know if your mental capacity is gonna go for 1 month of hating yourself or years. That's the scary part. But there has to be a process where you say, she's not a hoe. She wasn't a hoe for 4 years with you. You gave her this phantom idea that you're the man for years, and that idea was declining because you were having so much fun. Just, oh, I'm not gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna make less money. This is so much fun. I'm gonna stay home with her. That is the grossest, disgusting, vile human being that if you could rewatch yourself, if you were her father and said, wait, that year he made less money. He got more out of shape. He became more of a bitch. He started becoming more beta male. He was afraid of arguing with her and blah, 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 blah. You're literally becoming a worse person, enjoying I'm enjoying. But by the time you're done in 40 years, let's say you stuck together, you would have been the biggest beta male bitch that God has ever seen. But you wouldn't care because you'd have her. In a perfect world, you would trade your top ideal self just to bounce. Oh, this is so much fun. That is the highest level of bitch on earth. There's no higher level of bitch than so. Do you know how many people would say, in a perfect world, she'd just stay with me as a regular money-making beta? Yeah, I watched the 1950s, they did that. Did they, or did they get cheated on? They did. You have to become your potential. The laws of the universe work like this, bro. If you're not becoming, you'll never have it. I'm not saying you need to become. I'm saying you have to becoming. It has to be turning. It has. If the river freezes, it deserves no fish. Your turn.
Wow.
So that will get a million hits on YouTube, right, guys?
Yeah.
Kind of there. I'll tell you this, man. How many times does a guy just wave it off as, she's a hoe? She was great for 4 years, and then just a hoe. Bro, that's not how it works. There's an alchemical demoralization process happening.
What you're saying is that there's an element of phoniness there, right? That he was lying to himself and he couldn't maintain the illusion for too long. And
He was lying to God, lying to himself, and to her. And what's crazy is she's still stuck around for 4 years. That's a fucking. I'm not saying she's a good bitch. I'm not saying take her back, but I'm saying you did the greatest deal with the devil is letting go of God's potential so you can have someone bounce on you. That's pathetic. Because that's what it is. Comfort, comfort, comfort. I'm at home. Yeah. Right? And that's really what someone who's not a millionaire. If someone's not a millionaire, you know it's PlayStation and bounce, bounce. This is the best life ever. And you know what's crazy? I'm not above it. I can't name one man on earth that did it the right way. Besides Nick, who still hasn't been with a woman and he became a millionaire. But for the regular, he's a genius, right? But look at just use your fucking brain. It wasn't 4 years of going up and then I lost her. It was 4 years of going up as I was losing my identity. But every man on earth will drop their identity to keep paradise. They'll just say, hey, she's a good-looking girl, and you'll drop your power level to keep her. And I'll tell you this, if men could do a deal with God where they can be fat beta males who do nothing with their lives, but she still sticks around, I think most men would take that deal. That they don't like the mirror, they don't like what they see, but who cares? Cheetos and bitches. I think most men would say, okay, just leave me in the COVID lockdown with her.
Comfort there, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's all his fault. And if he's sitting next to me, there's no way he'd say, actually, every year I made more money. Every year I was better looking. Every year this was love. I was more fit. Every year I was arguing. Every year I didn't let her have her way. Every year. No.
But I do think that
women only leave when you're soft. Women only leave when you're soft.
In life, right? So they're getting fleeced by women a lot of the time in adolescence and early teenage years.
But did he fleece her?
By the time
Did he cheat her? Did he cheat her? Because we always talk about. The red pill guys always talk about. I think it's useless to talk about. She's like, oh, she left me. That doesn't solve anything.
I think there must have been a lack of a projection of potential, right? She didn't pick up on a sense of potential. There was something about him that might have icked her. Right?
He's giving me the ick. Yeah. He's not even arguing in chat. He's not even saying, actually, every year I was better. He knows he can't say that.
The other thing is that I'm surprised you haven't said this, Ron. They're pursuing something else, right? The purpose of that relationship was to meet some other criteria, right? To make up for something that was missing in their own childhood. I see that.
Yeah, that's like making him that's going to make him.
No, but what I'm saying is that there may have been, and this doesn't say anything about intentionality or the kind of person they are, but that there was maybe it wasn't entirely sincere, right? It was a form of self-medicating. The pursuit of this relationship.
If you're not leveling up, how could it ever be sincere? And I'll tell you this, bro.
Are you going to give that same advice to a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old who probably needs to have?
Now, a 12-year-old's going to go through heartbreak. When has a 12-year-old gone through heartbreak?
Okay, maybe not 12 or 13, but let's say teenager. Isn't that heartbreak what's needed for individuation?
Well, I would never respond to the teenager because I'd be like, there's no way around that. But 25, 30-year-old, yeah, you can avoid that. Yeah, you probably had it happen to you in a prototype form as a teenager. So why not just cut your losses there? Why does it have to repeat after your marriage? After 4 years of marriage? Yeah, 4 years of marriage.
You're married for 4 years?
No, it's the same thing. If you live with someone for 4 years, that's